ข้างล่างเป็นเอกสารที่เป็นรวบรวมเข้า
Okay, you can start.
Okay. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining lecture series, Global Development Agenda and Thailand's Challenges. My name is Yasushi Negishi, lecturer at the Puey Ungphakorn School of Development Studies, Thammasat University. Let me briefly introduce myself. After graduating from bachelor's program from Hitotsubashi University, Japan, and master's program in Yale University, USA, I was trained as an economist and have spent almost 40 years in development finance space by serving many roles such as country director's position in Thailand and Lao PDR with the Asian Development Bank, and also senior advisor, equity department with IFC from 2009 to 2013, and chief representative positions in Washington, D.C. and in Bangkok, Thailand, at the Japan Bank for International Cooperation from 2003 to 2009. During these periods, I followed up macroeconomic situations of both developed and developing countries, and was involved with development projects such as infrastructure provision, social sector service delivery, and financial sector development. And I am looking forward to sharing my views and also exchange opinions with you. These are the 5 presentations that I have been delivering under the series. And as I explained in the previous presentations, I prepared these lectures for those who are interested in learning on global development agenda at the introductory level. And I hope this presentation would help learners to familiarize themselves with key development issues. Today, I am going to talk on governance and institutions as the 4th topic in the series. And governance and institutions are common issues to tackle the 3 major development agenda, which are poverty alleviation, reducing inequality, and sustainability. Since governments play a key role to design, prepare, approve, and implement various development projects. Today, we are going to start with definition and importance of governance, and then we will learn about institutional frameworks and corruption issue. And lastly, I will touch on the case from Afghanistan's reform since 2001. Okay, let's start with section 1, definition and importance of governance. Governance is defined like the system by which entities are directed and controlled. And in this case, entities include governments, private companies, and any organizations. However, governance usually means the system of governments. And governance of private company is called as corporate governance, normally. And good governance represents set of principles and practices that facilitate effective and equitable management of nations' affairs. Here I put the 5 illustrations for those aspects: transparency, accountability, the rule of law, participation, and inclusiveness. Let me explain one by one. Transparency, first one, ensures the government actions and decisions are open to scrutiny and reducing the likelihood of corruption and fostering trust among citizens. When we have a very transparent system, government or government officers cannot manipulate. Transparency is very important to reduce the possibility of corruption and also providing the increasing the trust among the citizens. Number two is accountability. Accountability holds individuals and institutions responsible for their activities, actions, and teaching a sense of duty and responsibility within the government. So accountability ensures that those actions taken by government officers always being asked whether they are valid actions or not. So such practice is very important to ensure the fair practice by the government officers and government institutions. The third is rule of law. This guarantees that all are equal before the law and provides a framework for enforcing contracts and also protecting property rights. And the fourth is participation. This empowers citizens to engage in the decision-making process and contributing to more informed policies. If citizens are involved in policy making and decision-making process, citizens will be fully informed, and also they can send their opinions, and those opinions are reflected in forming the government policies and etc. The last three, inclusiveness. This ensures that all segments of population have access to and also benefit from the fruits of the development. So when government comes up of any policies and plans, they always need to pay attention not only for those of the mainstream, but also those people in the marginalized parts of the nations. So inclusiveness is also a very important aspect of the good governance. Let me also explain how good governance supports economic growth and also social progress. Here are several examples. First, transparent governance creates an investment-friendly environment. So if we have a very transparent investment environment, then investors are quite comfortable putting money in those investment projects. And number two is clear and fair regulation reduce the cost of doing business. If we have a clear regulations, we don't need to worry about many other kind of strange interpretation of each regulations. Then investors do not need to spend the time to assess the risk coming from the regulations and etc. Then this apparently reduce the time and also money when they make decisions for investment. The third is rule of law, safeguards property rights, and implanting investors' confidence. So if we have a good rule of law, investors are secured that their property is protected by such laws and regulations. Fourthly, participation and inclusiveness create a social stability. And such approach, participation and inclusiveness, enable governments to focus on policies that improve the well-being of their citizens. When government plans any investment projects, infrastructure projects, it is quite wise to invite those beneficiaries' opinions. Unless government may come up with a plan which may not serve the needs of the local people. So participation and also inclusiveness can deliver such social stability and improve the well-being of their citizens. The last one is good governance ensures efficient public services and infrastructure development, and leading to a higher quality of life for citizens. This item maybe overlaps what I just mentioned in the item number 4. So when we have a good governance, all the government resources will spend to build infrastructure, and there is no leakage of official money to someone's pocket, especially those vested interests. Then citizens can fully enjoy the, for instance, infrastructure projects which are built by fully utilize the public money. And that way, citizens can enjoy the higher quality of life by using those infrastructures. So these are the very positive benefits that we can expect by having a good governance in the public sector. Okay, let me mention the importance of governance. These days, in recent decades, the international development community focus more on governance issues, as good governance delivers a better development outcomes. So this is international community always tend to pay attention where the recipient government is a recipient government have good governance or not. And firstly, there are a few reasons. Firstly, it became evident that the effective governance characterized by transparency, accountability, and the rule of law forms the foundation on which sustainable development can be achieved. And secondly, instances of corruption, weak institutions, and inadequate public service delivery in various regions underscores the urgency of addressing the governance challenges. So we understand that weak governance apparently affects the quality and quantity of public service deliveries. And therefore, we understand that addressing governance challenges is very important in this regard. The thirdly, good governance is seen as a linchpin for achieving SDGs. So when we discuss SDGs, international development communities also face governance issues because this is a foundation. good governance is a foundation to deliver effective policies and initiatives for each sectors. Okay, let me move on to the second section, which is institutional frameworks and corruption. Let me start with institutional frameworks for sustainable development. Institutional frameworks forms the backbone for any nation's pursuit of sustainable development. These institutional frameworks are essentially the set of rules, policies, and organizations that guide and govern socio-economic activities within the countries. And these play a crucial role in shaping the behavior of individuals, businesses, and government entities, influencing how resources are allocated and decisions are made. Therefore, understanding the details of these frameworks is important for charting a path toward more sustainable futures. And secondly, within institutional framework, multiple actors come into place. Government institutions hold a central position as they formulate and implement policies, regulate industries, and provide essential public services. So first actor is government institutions. And simultaneously, civil society organizations act as watchdogs, and which advocating for social interest, holding institutions accountable, and often drive social innovations. So second actor is civil society organizations. And thirdly, international organizations. Through treaties, agreements, and collaboration efforts, international organizations provide global platform for shared goals in sustainability and influence policies and practices on a global scale. So the third one actor is international organizations. And these three actors facilitate to come up with policies and implement the policy and deliver those development outputs and outcomes and impacts. So this is, I explained by sentences, but this is the illustration, how we can deliver the sustainable development outcomes. So governments need to write rules and also promoted these social norms. So in this case, well, not only government, but also civil societies promote how to conserve energy and how to recycle the waste and etc. Based on the rules and also opinions and recommendation by civil society, sometimes international organizations suggest the government to revise rule books and also provide additional advice to citizens how to improve their conservation efforts and so on. And then government also provide procedures how to promote, for instance, renewable energy investment, and also how to recycle those waste, solid waste, and so on. And that way, with these institutional frameworks and participation of those three key actors, we can deliver outcomes for sustainable development. So having a good institutional framework is very important to achieve sustainable development in this regard. Let me move on to a corruption issue. Corruption brings apparently negative influence on governance and development outcomes in various ways. Corruption reduces public trust in institutions and undermine the legality of government. This loss of trust can lead to a decrease in civil engagement. Citizens would lost the interest engaging with the government, and also citizens may lose the interest in complying with laws and regulations, and ultimately preventing effective functioning of the government. So with corruption, we will have a loss of trust from the citizens, and government itself cannot properly function. So this is a very serious issue. Number two, corruption skews resource allocations, driving funds away from critical sectors like education and healthcare and infrastructure towards the pockets of a selected few people. So this means that if we have a corruption on the government officers and also some business interest, such corrupt behavior will undermine the efficient allocation of resources. And this misallocation prevents inclusive development and worsens social inequality. So such practice apparently prevent the financial resources to invest in the most needed sector part of the society, and such malpractice of investing large, for instance, infrastructure would not help or serve the needs of those poor population in the society and so. So this is the second effect, maybe issues from the corruption. The third issue is corruption fosters environment of exemption from punishment, where wrongdoings go unpunished and eroding the rule of law. So if corrupt practice are allowed in society, then those who commit such criminals may not be punished properly in accordance with laws of such countries. Then citizens in such countries probably lose the interest to honor the rule of law, and the whole society may become a very unlawful situation. And this kind of situation discourages investment, both domestic and foreign investment, and reduce economic growth. So corruption has such pretty negative impact to society, especially when countries is supposed to develop and also reduce population in poverty, and also try to reduce the income disparity, and also try to promote the sustainable development. So these are the examples how the corruption damages the society which needs more development. And in this next slide, let me explain how we can prevent corruptions by additional frameworks. First one is transparent, accountable governance structure are vitals. This involves enacting and enforcing robust anti-corruption laws and regulations. So in order to tackle corruption issues, we need a very strong anti-corruption laws and regulations. This is the first one. Second is ensuring the having the independent and effective judicial system. These are the crucial for holding criminals of corruption accountable. Strengthening oversight mechanisms such as independent anti-corruption agencies and ombudsman offices can act as watchdogs and investigating and prosecuting corrupt practices. We need such public institutions to follow up and monitor corrupt practices in society. The third is promotion of culture of ethics and integrity within a public institution and also private enterprises. These are very important. This can be achieved through training, awareness campaigns, and also whistleblower protection mechanisms. So the third area is advocating the culture of integrity to the whole societies. And the fourth is encouraging citizens' participation and engagement in decision-making process. This one already mentioned in the building the institutional frameworks part, but participation from the citizens in the decision-making process would help detect and prevent corruption in the public administrations. Citizens can propose or mention many concerns how to protect the government activities from corrupt practices and so on. Therefore, this process is also very important. The last three, leveraging technology and digital platform for public service delivery and financial transaction can reduce opportunity for corrupt practices. So if we have technology, and if we go process those procurement and so on by digitally or IT, then we can make the process more mechanical and a transparent way. And also financial transactions through IT also help to make the financial transaction in a transparent way. So that way we can prevent those private sector people try to bribe government officers and so on. Okay, and The last one on the corruption section is I would like to introduce. There are many indexes how to assess the degree of quality governance, and also at the same time degree of the corruption in society. The first one is the Open Budget Index, which evaluates the accessibility of government budget information to the public. So we can assess this openness on budget information by this Open Budget Index. Next index is the Corruption Perceptions Index, so-called CPI. And this is index ranking of countries, and this indicate how much each government corrupted or not. And if you access this link, you can see the how the 180 countries are assessed by this CPI. And you can find that the Thailand situation is 101st among 180 countries. And Thailand is close to the average, but this index is annually updated. So we can compare whether our country is improving or deteriorating in terms of the based on this index. The third indicator is the World Bank's Worldwide Governance Indicator, WGI. This indicator covers dimensions like voice and accountability. Voice means whether the voice of the citizens are reflected in the public policy making and so on. And accountability is whether government officers are accountable enough or not, and government effectiveness, regulatory quality, rule of law, and control of corruption, and so on. Yeah, World Bank has many criteria how to assess the government's governance degree based on those criteria. And the last three, we have Freedom House's Freedom in the World Index, which evaluate political rights and civil liberties. So those who are interested in, please check these indexes so that you can understand how effectively each index can follow up the actual situation of each country. I just want to share with you this graph. This graph indicates whether the per capita income increase would be affected by the degree of corruption. So as I explained in the previous slide, if we have a good governance, we can expect that we will have a better economic development. So in this graph, on the vertical axis, they have inverse index of corruption. So meaning that if you go higher, then we have less corruption. If you go lower, then we have more corruptions. So if my slide is correct, then we would have this upward graphs, right hand side upward graph. So unfortunately, this graph indicates that those countries with less corruption have higher per capita income, meaning that reducing the corruption is very important to achieve higher income level going forward. So this is just for your information. So let me move on to the third section, which is a case from Afghanistan's reform. I think everybody, well, maybe younger generations may not know well, but year 2001, we have this terrible incident in United States, so-called September 11 attack. And the very high buildings, World Trade Center in Manhattan was attacked by suicide flight by those Muslim terrorists. And besides World Trade Centers in Manhattan, U.S. Department of Defense, Pentagon building in Washington, D.C. Was also attacked. And other flight also supposed to attack on White House, went to landed other places and crashed in Pennsylvania. But we have this simultaneous terrorist attack in United States. And after this incident, United States found out that this terrorist attack was initiated by Osama bin Laden. He is Muslim activist based in Saudi or Yemen. But the U.S. intelligence found that Osama bin Laden was hiding mountainside of Afghanistan or in Pakistan. And in order to remove the terrorist bases in Afghanistan, after the September 11 incidents, United States started the military operation in Afghanistan, and especially in Afghanistan at that time, Taliban, this is Muslim political group, ruled the country, and since they ruled the country based on the Islam fundamental thought, U.S. government tried to remove Taliban regime and tried to build a democratic system in Afghanistan. I put the brief history, but I would not go in detail in the previous Afghan history. But as you can see, Afghanistan is a fragile state. And there are many ethnic groups fighting each other. At one time, they have a communist revolution that activist communist led revolution, and Soviet was intervened, and the United States also intervened in 1980s. But after that collapse of the Soviet Union, withdrew from Afghanistan, and U.S. also stopped the assistance to this Soviet-Afghan war. And then after that, 1996, Taliban seized the control of capital Kabul and established the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan. And then 9/11 incident happened, and U.S. invaded Afghanistan and tried to build a democratic state in Afghanistan, which they call the regime change in Afghanistan. However, after 20 years support by international community, tried to build a democratic state, failed in 2021. So let me explain what international community tried to support during the past 2 decades. And we will understand, we will know how the corruption issue and also achieving a good governance in such a state is very difficult. Okay, this slide indicates the Afghan's reforms since 2001. And here we understand international community try to work on three aspects of the society. First one is to have a political reform so that they can have a politically elected governments and parliaments, and they also try to rebuild the economy of Afghanistan, and also they also worked on the social side, such as health sector and education, so on. Afghans were able to have elections in a transparent way, and also they tried to build security forces in order to stabilize the national securities. And both economic and social development are also achieved to a certain degree during the past 20 years. And international community was keen to support Afghanistan. And from this table, huge amount of international aid were provided to the country of Afghanistan by US, European Union, Japan, World Bank, United Nations, and etc. And in total, simply calculated, more than 31 billion US dollar were provided during the past two decades to Afghanistan. And in US, there are 4 presidents who were involved with US involvement, assistance to the Afghanistan's country building. And during this period, as I mentioned, the international community supported Afghanistan to come up with rule books and also organizations such as parliament and government. And also, since keeping the nation's security is very important, US militaries and EU military provided military advisors to strengthen the security forces in Afghanistan. And also, in order to support the social sector, lots of assistance are provided to build social infrastructure such as hospitals and schools and so on. And there are many discussions when to leave Afghanistan, especially US and EU provided many military officers in Afghanistan in order to train security forces in Afghan side. And by the end of the week, or by the early 2010 or 2020, the international community led by US and EU provided lots of assistance and training to Afghan security forces. And they were assessing the timing when to withdraw from Afghanistan. And by the time they decided to withdraw, international community decided to withdraw from Afghanistan, it was believed that there was 300,000 soldiers, security forces in Afghan. And at the same time, they have a very good police personnel trained in Afghanistan. And they went through presidential election for a few times, and many government programs are supported by international community. and provided social services to the citizens of the Afghanistan. And as for the Taliban force, by the time they try to consider the timing of the withdrawal, it was reported that the Taliban has security forces of 75,000 fighters. And if we compared this number, Afghan soldiers number and Taliban fighters, even U.S. forces withdraws from Afghanistan, we believe that 300,000 soldiers could manage the possible counterattack from Taliban fighters. But apparently, when U.S. security forces and European security forces left the country, it took only 1 week. Taliban fighters seized the power in Afghanistan, and we are very much. There was many questions why these 300 soldiers was not able to manage the security situation in Afghanistan. And there is no such formal assessment why the international community support to strengthen the security forces in Afghanistan was not able to was not enough to strengthen the soldiers in Afghanistan. But according to some media reports, major media reports, probably we were not able to find governance issues and corruption issues in Afghanistan side. And although it was reported that we had 300,000 soldiers, but actually those international aids may be leaked to the pockets of those influential people in Afghan side, and we may not have enough soldiers on Afghan side. That's the reason why Afghan security forces was not able to manage the security situation and easily seized the power by Taliban fighters. So this example gives us a very good lessons that wizard make sure having a good governance in place and also avoid corruption issues as much as possible without making sure such key issues. Even though we provide a huge amount of assistance, we may not be able to support the country as we intended. So that's, I think, the great lesson that international community should learn from Afghan's cases. And I hope when we deal with such countries and such situations, I think we should use such lessons when we and consider the feasibility of our assistance, especially when we support those fragile situations. Okay, that's the lessons I want to share with you from Afghan's case. And let me conclude my presentation for governance and institutions. And I am looking forward receiving your comments and